Greetings, Fire Charges Darkblade here, and I just want to show you an observation that I made here in this thing known as the Bible. First, let's turn to, Judges chapter 3, verse 11. So the land had rest for 40 years. Then Othniel, the son of Kenaz, died. Verse 30. So Moab was subdued that day under the hands of Israel, and the land had rest for 80 years. Shamgar doesn't really say anything that's important. And chapter 5, verse 31. This is after Deborah. And the land had rest for 40 years. And chapter 8, verse 28. So Midian was subdued before the people of Israel, and they raised their heads no more. And the land had rest 40 years in the land of Gideon. After this, it just stops using this phrase, the land had rest. For example, chapter 9, verse 22 said, Abimelech ruled over Israel 3 years. Chapter 10, verse 2 says, and he judged Israel 23 years. Then he died and was buried at Shamir. The next one says, after him arose Jair the Gileadite, who judged Israel 22 years. And chapter 12, verse 7, Jephthah judged Israel 6 years. And verse 9, he had 30 sons and 30 daughters he gave in marriage outside his clan, and 30 daughters he brought from outside for his sons. And he judged Israel 7 years. After verse 11. After him, Elon the Zebulunite judged Israel, and he judged Israel 10 years. Next is verse 14. He had 40 sons and 30 grandsons who rode on 70 donkeys, and he judged Israel 8 years. And finally, chapter 16, final verse 31. He had judged Israel 20 years. So I noticed that after Gideon, it just stops using this phrase, the land had peace. And notice what it says about Samson. He had judged Israel 20 years. Now, Samson never liberates his people. He dies, they're still under the Philistine subjugation. Judges 13:1. And the people of Israel did what was evil in the sight of the Lord, so the Lord gave them into the hand of the Philistines for 40 years. And what else? Verse 5, for behold, you shall conceive and bear a son. No razor shall come upon his head, for the child shall be a Nazarite to God from the womb, and he shall begin to save Israel from the hands of the Philistines. So this subjugation, Samson was born during its time. And keep in mind that during Samson's tenure and even to his death, the Philistines are still in power. Let me try to find a verse that Okay, so it's either going to be in 14 or... So here we are, verse 4 of chapter 14. His father and mother did not know that it was from the Lord, for he was seeking an opportunity against the Philistines. At that time, the Philistines ruled over Israel. So here is Samson. The Philistines are still in power at this point in his life. Okay, now we're on chapter 15, verse 8. Then the Philistines said, "Who has done this?" And they said, "Samson, the son-in-law of the Timnite, because he has taken his wife and given her to his companion." And the Philistines came and burned her and her father with fire. Samson said to this, "If this is what you do, I swear I will be avenged upon you, and after that I will quit." And he struck them hip and thigh with a great blow, and he went down and stand in the cleft of the rock of Etam. Then the Philistines came and encamped in Judah and made a raid on Lehi. And the men of Judah said, "Why have you come up against us?" They said, "We have come up to bind Samson, to do to him as he do to us." The 3,000 men of Judah went down to the cleft of the Etam, and he said to Samson, "Do you not know the Philistines are rulers over us?" This is verse 11. Yeah. What is it that you have done to us? And he said to them, "As they did to me, so I have done to them." And they said to him, "We have come to bind you, so they may give you into the hands of the Philistines." So it looks like there's a bit of an extradition going on. The Philistines are still in power and are able to demand Samson's extradition from a legal standpoint. So that just some observations I made. This one is an observation I made just recently, but while recording this video, but I anticipated it. So this means that at Samson's 20 years, that ends with his death. The Philistines are still in power, subjugating Israel, just like they were before he was born. I think that might be useful for determining a rough estimate of his age. Of course, we have to be cautious when it comes to the phrase 40 years. I don't know if 20 being half of 40 means that cautiousness also has to apply to 20, but that's the point of this video. Goodbye, Fire Charges Dark Blade out. Make sure to like and subscribe.